Welcome back. Now, Charles Tarbey from Century 21 now joins us with the latest stats from around the country, and I'm not sure if he's trying to get some free advertising with his T-shirt or his suits at the Cleaners. What's the answer, Charles?
Things are crook at Century 21.
Seriously, I just landed about an hour ago, and I thought I'd go in the city and do what I normally do, get changed in the city, and the traffic is horrendous. F5 accident. Finally get to the bridge, decide to divert the city now, and I get to the bridge and there's a bus broken down on the bridge. So
is that because everyone's celebrating the RBA drop and they're getting ready for property weekend?
They could be. So I just got in. I do apologise to your listeners, to your viewers.
Viewers who are on TV.
Viewers, yes, and yourselves, gentlemen, because you look so wonderful. Look gorgeous tonight, mate. So it looks like you're going out in the town. Oh, it's wonderful out there.
Has it all changed in the last few days?
You know, it's not. It's. I think the figures that we're seeing will probably see a change this weekend, but actually the auction results were pretty good again. We've had 3 weeks where it's climbed every week now. It's now 67.7% for the last week. Compared to the last couple of weeks, so it's been on the increase. But the big hits were Sydney with a 72.7% auction clearance rate, and Melbourne with a 70.4%, and Canberra had a 67.3% clearance rate. So the clearance rates are still there.
So that graph's pretty black and white, isn't it?
Yeah, it's still telling the same story, that if there's stock out there, people are looking to buy.
And is the RBA cut a guarantee that that's going to continue, do you think? Because you've been asking for it for a while, haven't you?
We have. I didn't want the cut to occur, strangely enough. I think it's okay where it was. But look, I think the biggest problem is are people going to continue saving instead of getting out and doing something?
Yeah.
But there's the stock issue is what we can talk about next, and we'll start to see a pattern there again as well.
So obviously the homes advertised for sale, and I think, Stuart, you were saying that as well with a lot of your clients, with real estate agents. Is there any more stock? It's
been very tough. Climb this week, 2.06% over the week before. So we've had 2 weeks of climb, but we had negative growth there in stock for a while. But, Chris, it's a problem with the construction development issue out there as well. And if you get a dozen over 55 properties built out there, then probably 10 to a dozen people will sell their homes and move into those. And they'll be downsizing. Now, that's not happening. So you don't have that level of people selling because they've got nowhere to go. So the stock levels are still slowing down in that process. So that's
what's going to change?
I don't think a great deal is going to change at this point in time, because I think people who are out there bidding are going to pay a little bit more for a property in the areas where there's shortage of stock. There's still some great areas across Australia where there's plenty of reasonable quality stock available.
So is that part of the cycle, though, is that suddenly there's not that many properties on the market, so people have got to pay a higher price,
yes,
and then the people that are selling suddenly say, oh, that's high price, right, I might sell now.
I might start now. And you've been seeing a bit of that. You're seeing clearance rates, actually. A lot of agents are saying they're getting well in excess of reserve, but that's in certain areas. It's not in all areas. Not in all areas.
And so again, you've got to read between the lines with all these things.
Yeah, look, it's not a bad place to be. It's not as though it's a shocking part of the market. You know, you've got people who want to buy and people who now, if they go to sell in reasonable areas, are going to get a good price. But they still have to buy as well. So if they don't, we talked about this last week, if they don't make a decision soon, then what they're selling here and what they're buying there, they're going to be paying a lot more at this end. So, you know, people have got to get their timing right.
And then obviously we'll look at the rents as well.
They're moving a little bit. Sydney's 10.9, steady. Melbourne's gone slightly backwards at 7.13. Perth was up and then down last week and then slightly up again this week. But overall it's 11.4% across the nation for those 3 capital cities since we've been keeping these records in January last year. Yeah. So they're still moving up.
So again, the gap between rent and mortgage is getting less, and then obviously the vacancy rate.
Of course, yeah. And here's the interesting one, because Sydney stable, Melbourne over 3s, but Perth hit 2.98% vacancy. That's 3 weeks in a row it's increased in vacancy, because we talked about that happening. So the overall across the country is 2.95%. So I think Perth has got a little bit of work to do. They've got to watch themselves very carefully there. Their rents start climbing and their vacancy rates start climbing, then all of a sudden they're going to have a situation where they've got more stock on the market than they need to have on the market. So that's where it's heading right now in those areas. But we were calling that, so it's starting to happen now in those areas.
Now, Stuart, we've got about 20 seconds. Your dream day of the whole year's coming up soon, isn't it?
I wouldn't go as far to say dream, Chris. I mean, it's a bit delusional. But no, definitely budget night next Tuesday, so everybody's got to watch it on the TVs and see what the government comes out with next Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Good to see you guys again as usual.
Thank you.
You look wonderful without your suit as well.
I apologise.
Thanks for joining us at home tonight. We look forward to seeing you again next week. Until then, I'm Chris Gray. Good night.
The information featured in this program is general in nature and therefore should not be relied upon. Guests appearing on the program may have commercial arrangements with some of the companies mentioned. Before making any investment, insurance